Hello, this is an assessment for restoration of a Broadwood grand piano made in about 1900. It's about 5 foot 5 inches long. You can see that the casework is really extraordinarily beautiful. Apart from it having really excellent rosewood veneer, it also has some beautiful boxwood inlay. Here you can see the different designs on the piano, but it clearly needs repolishing. It's very faded on the back and the sides. On this side you can see more of a contrast of colour, less faded. Underneath you can see the original colour of the piano, though we would go for a colour that brings out a bit more of the contrast of grain. Perhaps a colour more like the top of the piano here, though it's various colours on the top. We go for a lighter colour that brings out, as you can see, the black more clearly, so you get more contrast. Now I have a major problem on this piano, and that is that the weight of the key it's too heavy, and that's all our touch weights put together. That's about 61 grams, and that's not enough to push it down. 61 grams is plenty to get this key on this Blues to the Grand to go down, and in fact should be about around 50 grams is sufficient to get the key to go down. Touch weight does vary a bit from piano to piano, but this Blues to the Grand, going back to that, this is about 48 grams, and you can see I've used coins with a bit of persuasion, tapping, they go down, and that's about the correct touch weight. Now each of these £1 coins is about 9.5 grams, and there's 7 of them here, so that's about 63 plus 3.5 is about 66.5, and now we're just about getting some downward movement, as you can see. Now taking the action out, we can see this is what's called a simplex style action. It doesn't have a repetition lever like grand pianos do nowadays. This is a typical repetition lever, and it allows the piano to repeat. This lever holds it, the hammer near the string, but also is smooth. It doesn't have so much, well, it's easier to regulate the touch. Having said that, there's no reason why this piano shouldn't have a lighter touch, and I think there's 2 main reasons. So the hammers are a bit heavy. They put new hammers on, and the hammers are a bit heavy, so either you've got to weight the keys or got to shave something off the hammers. Probably shaving something off the hammers is the right way, but also the angle here of the jack, and if you listen as well, you can hear it slapping back. That one particularly, because this felt here has been compacted. I've just fluffed up the felt on this one so that the angle of the jack is further out. It's further out than it was, if you see what I mean here. I moved it further out. It was further in before, having fluffed up the felt, and that's not a permanent solution. It's just to test the piano, and immediately the action feels lighter. So that's half the problem. The other half of the problem, I think, is hammer weight. Now, looking at the inside of the piano, the tuning pins are pretty tight. That means you don't have to restring the piano, and the strings, they're a bit, you always get a difficult break point on Broadwoods here. Difficult to match the tone, but it can be done better than that. The bass strings could do with changing, or at least twisting, to get better tone. It does have that beautiful special Broadwood tone that on these grands is wonderful, but as you go near the top, the hammers are hitting the frame at that point. There's clearly an error there. They're actually touching the frame. I don't suppose you can see on the video, but therefore it's only if you play it loud you get any sound at all. Now that's clearly an error. It just needs the hammer shaving off a bit. Soundboard too is in excellent condition. We can see some mildew on the hammers, by the way, so it's obviously got a bit damp. When it gets into a dry, centrally heated place, it might show signs of the tuning pins going slightly loose, but you have to keep the humidity reasonably high for a piano of this age. You can, as I say, restring the piano, change the tuning block, but that's not necessary unless you really put it into a very warm, dry atmosphere. Should also say that the keys look quite patchy. There's some been replaced. Actually, the replacement's been reasonably well done, though there's a bit of a ridge there. We can certainly improve on that, and definitely improve on the matching of the keys. So that's a beautiful Broadwood grand piano made in about 1900, 5 foot 5 inches long, and has a lot of potential, but the touch weight particularly, it's really very hard work, but has a beautiful underlying tone. The hammers at the top, really, that's just a question of shaving them off so they don't hit the frame. Thank you very much for listening.